الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أقم الصلاة لذكري. It's back from my friends, brothers and sisters listening at home. Over the last couple of days, the topic has been with regards to Salat and the importance of establishing Salat and the importance of Salat in our lives. How important Salat is, another reminder and indication is that Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam, just prior to his demise, the last and final nasihat, or rather that time it is Wasiyyah. The Wasiyyah that Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam gave was what? As-salat, as-salat, wa ma malakat aymanukum, as-salat, as-salat, wa ma malakat aymanukum. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam's final Wasiyyah itself was on Salat. And that which your right hand possesses, meaning those who are under you. Which refers was Hukukul Ibad, and by Salat Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam refers was all those which are Hukukullah, and it is Salat which is the most important from all the Hukukullah. So even at the demise, at the time of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's departure from this world, the last Wasiyyat he did to this Ummah was with regards to the Salat. And this Ummah, who takes so serious the Wasiyyat of their parents, and irrelevant whether those wasiyat are correct, shari-wise or not, we still are adamant in fulfilling those wasiyat. But when it comes to the wasiyat of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam, we pay no heed to it whatsoever. Our parents one side compared to the wasiyat of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. And when it does come to any wasiyat of any person for that matter, لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. There is no obedience to any person whatsoever. Any makhluk, you do not follow any makhluk whatsoever, any creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it comes to the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La ta'al makhluk fi ma'asil khaliq, which means, even if it is a person's parents, the maqam and the honor, the status of the parents is in its place. But even if one's parents command somebody to do something which is inappropriate, something which is haram, impermissible, even then there is no ta'at for that person. You do not obey any human being whatsoever when it comes to the ma'asiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A wasiyat, irrelevant what sort of wasiyat we may make, only those wasiyat are binding and obligatory upon us to complete and fulfill, which are according to the laws of inheritance and which are permissible for us to carry out. Any other such wasiyat, it doesn't matter, even if it's our parents, and what do we say? It was my parents' wish, it was my mother's wish, my father's wish. But after they've passed away and left from this world, they have no clue at all with regard to you fulfilling their wish or not. However, if you fulfill a wish of theirs which is impermissible, then yes, they will come to know of that wish and they will regret that wish, because they will get the punishment for it in the grave. And you knowing that it is wrong, you will also get you will also be sinful for carrying out that wish. So many such cases we get, especially on the demise of somebody, that the deceased had made this wasiyat or that wasiyat, that this amount should go here or there, or this should be given here and there. That is one type of wasiyat that is made, and then the children assume that they are under that obligation, that they have to carry it out because it was their parents' wasiyat. That is one. The other is with regard to what is common, the wasiyat that some parents make, that on their demise that they should be buried overseas, they should be buried back home. Again, this is another wasiyat which children feel obliged that they need to carry out and discharge this wasiyat of their parents. Again, this is that type of wasiyat which totally goes against the spirit and the command of Islam. Deen and Shariat, the Fuqaha have mentioned that if a person passes away, they should not be buried anywhere else but where they have been buried. And if there is any need for transportation, then just a couple of miles from where they have passed away, out of convenience for where the cemetery and the graveyard may be. Other than that, it is not permissible to transfer or transport the body overseas. And from the reasons behind it, what is the spirit of Islam is, and if that was the case, then do you think that the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala would not have made wasiyyah that, look, wherever I pass away, I should be buried in Jannatul Baqi? The Sahaba would have made that wasiyyah. Every Sahabi would have made that wasiyyah. Every Sahabi who left Madinatul Munawwara for the sake of propagating deen, for the sake of jihad, wherever they went for, you would not have found the mazars and the graves of the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala in Cyprus, in Turkey, and all these places. They would have made wasiyyah. And where better? By Hindustan, Pakistan, nothing compared to Madinatul Munawwara. Nothing compared to Madinatul Munawwara itself and Jannatul Baqi. Would the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala themselves not have made wasiyyah that when we pass away, then we should be buried where? We should be buried in Madinatul Munawwara. They would have made that wasiyyah, and all the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala would be sent, their bodies would have been sent to Madinatul Munawwara. The brother of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, Muhammad bin Abi Bakr radiallahu ta'ala, who passed away outside Makkah al-Mukarramah, and his body was transported back to Makkah al-Mukarramah. On that itself, Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala showed her dislike upon that. She showed her dislike upon that. If I was there at the time, then I would not have allowed and permitted it. So this is something that no matter what they may have said at that time, we are not under any obligation that we need to carry out that wasiyyah, my dear friends. The parents are not going to become naraz by it. And remember, when it comes to becoming naraz, displeased by whose displeasure matters the most. The narazgi, the displeasure of any creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the narazgi, the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what matters the most over everything else. Even if everybody becomes displeased with us, that if this wasiyyat was made and we went against it, then our bradri, our family and our uncles and our aunties and fula are going to become displeased with us, fine, let them become displeased with us. Their displeasure is nothing at all compared to the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And my dear friends, the person who makes his wasiyyat out of ignorance. Because they have ignorance, they are not aware of what the ruling is, or even if they are, many do know what the ruling is, but again, as I mentioned previously, it's not necessary that because they are aware of it, they're going to make amal upon it. So if they are doing something wrong, it doesn't mean that we should continue that wrong trend as well. And from the nuqsan, from the harms of it, the first is that we're going against the spirit of deen and sharia. And then on top of it, my dear friends, there is delay in the burial of the mayyit. When we are to travel somewhere, and when we check in at the airport, and then we get into the check-in area, the departure lounge, and whilst we are sat there in the departure lounge, and then all of a sudden we get an announcement that flight number so-and-so to so-and-so place has been delayed for 2 hours. Just the fact that we are already there 2 hours beforehand, and now we know it's delayed for 2 hours, we become how unsettled by that. And then you get another announcement that it is delayed for another 4 hours. PIA is guaranteed. It is delayed for another so many hours. And then again it is delayed for 6 hours. It is delayed for 8 hours. But the delay sign that we see each time, that makes us so unsettled. We become unsettled at that time of the delay, that we just sat there, we don't know it. Even if he says 10 hours delay, we can't say that, look, let me go back home and I'll come back the following after 10 hours or so. No, that's it. Now that you've checked in and you're in the departure lounge, you have to sit there, you can't go anywhere. Neither can you get onto your flight and get on to your destination, and neither can you return home, you're not here or not there. How we feel during that week, my dear friends. This is exactly the same with the mayyit, when the mayyit is on the departure lounge. The mayyit departs from this world. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam says what? That hasten now with the burial, hasten. Now take the mayyit to where it needs to go to. The mayyit and this individual is no longer a person of this world now. They are a person of the hereafter. They've gone to where they need to go to. And as long as you are keeping them here, they are going to be unsettled, because their abode is no longer here. They need to be put in the grave. They need to be sent to the hereafter. They feel unsettled. They feel the pain of being restricted here in this world. And who is to fault there? We ourselves are at fault by delaying that deliberately. One is things may be out of our control with regards to various legislation, that is the paperwork that needs to be sorted out, and other matters with regards to medical checks and that. So certain things may not be in our control, and we try our utmost to try and hasten it as much as possible. But there are those things which are under our control, and this is in our control. For us now to transport that body to overseas, in there is going to be so much delay, my dear friends. And we are the ones who are bringing about that delay upon that mayyit. And because the mayyit made wasiyyat for it as well, the mayyit is going to be sinful, and we are going to be sinful as well. That is one. The other is, my dear friends, in order for that body to be transported wherever it needs to, the authorities are not going to allow you to just do ghusl and leave it how it is and pack it up in the coffin and send it. No, there is a process that it goes through, the balming that goes through. In that, my dear friends, that which is pumped into the body, in order for it not to decompose and then it's going to be a health risk on the flight, for that body to remain in a decent state, there is alcohol that is pumped into the body as well. Think about these things, my dear friends. Just for the sake of that wasiyyat of that individual, that person who the entire life abstained and stayed away from alcohol, now when they're going to meet their Rabb, we are injecting their body full of alcohol. Just imagine what state we are sending them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have done the ghusl and purified them externally, but internally we are impurifying them. Internally we are impurifying them. And there's no further ghusl, you're not going to be able to extract that before now putting them in the grave. These are the type of things we are pumping into them and sending them off to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this state. And then on top of it, the pain that the mayyit endures as well with that procedure that takes place, that is on top of the hardship that we are bringing upon the mayyit. And then when it comes to transporting the body as well, the mayyit, it's not going to be a case of you just purchase one ticket, one flight ticket or so. In it, the cost of that is going to be exorbitant as well. It's going to be a high price for that because this is special cargo that you're going to be sending over. So the price of that is going to be much. And not only that, but when the mayyit goes, you're not just going to leave it, let it go on its own. Then the person needs to accompany it as again, chartered flight maybe, special price, or whether irrelevant of what the cost is, you're going to have to pay for that as well. And it's not a case of just one individual going. It's going to be another individual going, my dear friends, to the extent that there was one mayyit that was transported and the family went, few family members went, and that the kharcha, the cost that they had spent just on transporting the body and them going was over 10,000 pounds. Over 10,000 pounds, my dear friends. Here the burial will be maybe 1,500 or so in that region, which is something now you have to pay. It's expensive to die here as well. So you have to pay that. That is something that is not in your control, you have to pay for that. That's anywhere you're going to go, there's going to be a certain fee that is there. Now here, my dear friends, we're spending 10,000 plus so that we can go and accompany the mayyit and send the mayyit and bury the mayyit in overseas. And the mayyit feels what? That we want to be buried back home, where we have come from, whichever, and that too, whichever is our own hometown, our own village, or maybe the qabristan where our parents may be buried, so we want to be buried there as well. Now let us logically think about these things, my dear friends. What difference is that going to be made? The only places is Makkatul Mukarram, Jannatul Baqi, and then Madinatul Munawwar, Jannatul Ma'la. And then if there's any place thereafter, it is the Balad Sham. Aside from those blessed places, being buried anywhere else is not going to give us any extra fazilat at all. It's not going to give us any extra fazilat at all. And also being buried in the same graveyard where our ancestors may be, our family members are there, that's not going to make any difference to us at all. They are not going to intercede on our behalf. We're not going to be with them either. They're in the qabristan. And they are not going to intercede on our behalf, as well as Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself mentioned with regards to Fatima. And when Fatima dies as well, then just the fact that she is bint Muhammad, that is not going to make any difference to her at all. Each one is going to go with their own amal, irrelevant of where you are buried. You can be buried right in the North Pole somewhere, away from every person, But if your amal were good and you died on iman, then that is what? That is going to be a bagh, that is going to be rawdatun min riyadil jannah. That is going to be a garden of Jannah no matter where you are. Even in England as well, in a non-Muslim country as well, it is your amal that matters the most. Be buried here, it is what you take with how you go into the grave. And if you're going to be transported back to your own homelands, wherever it might be, whether it's Hindustan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Africa, wherever a person may want to go back to, that is not going to make our deal with Allah, our meeting with Allah Ta'ala, that is not going to make our halat, our conditions in the grave any easier for us. It will not impact that whatsoever in that form. But rather, as I mentioned to you, it will bring back more destruction upon us. Because of the delay that is there. Going against the deen and shariat. And then on top of it, the amount that we spend in just transporting the mayyit there, my dear friends, in order to what? Increase the azab upon the mayyit. Increase the azab on the mayyit. Understanding is that instead, no, the parents made that wasiyat of Fulan, made that wasiyat, look, go to the ulama, ask the ulama, is this correct or not? The ulama haq will tell you that, look, this is wrong, you should not be doing such a thought. Fine. Bury them locally. And by doing so, we will be doing them a favor. Don't think that we are doing them a favor by following their wasiyat, their bequest. We will be doing them a favor by going against it and bringing wrath and peace and ease upon them. That when they are then put in the grave, they will be pleased that my children carried out and did it correctly instead. Otherwise they will regret that why did we make that wasiyat and why did my child or my children follow that impermissible and haram wasiyat as well. And my dear friends, the 10,000 or plus or whatever we spend in order to transport the mayyit and our transport, our fees as well, our ticket fees and all that as well. If that is the same money, that if we had given that in sadaqah, for sadaqah jariyah for the mayyit, just imagine how much that mayyit would benefit from. How much the mayyit would benefit from. When we are going to go in the grave, my dear friends, and the moment our ruh departs from our soul, from our bodies, already here in this world, that is, in qat amaluhu, insan's amal come to an end. We cannot do anything further at all. Not a single subhanallah. So when it comes to the topic of salat as well, my dear friends, maybe here in this world we do not value salat, but we will value it, we'll understand the value of it when we are in the grave. To the extent that when we are in the grave, we'll even understand the value of just one subhanallah. That one subhanallah, that one alhamdulillah, and not only that, but those 12 rakats, my dear friends, that we omit and we leave the masjid, we will value that when we are in the grave. The 12 rakat, we will value that. And we will value the fact that instead of us leaving the masjid after 8 rakats and spending the same amount of time outside talking away, and we would have spent that in the masjid performing the 12 rakat, when we see the reward of that and when we see where we are and how we are, what our condition is, and where we are going to be in need of maybe just 12 rakats of salat, we're there, we will say, if only I stayed in the masjid for the 20. So one subhanallah, one alhamdulillah, any naked for that matter, my dear friends, any naked of that sort, the value of that we may not understand here, but we will understand it when we're in the grave. When we are in that condition, this way, my dear friends, here sometimes it happens as well. When a person is struggling, they have no finance at all, they've spent all their money or they do not have. Now they need to top up the electricity, for instance. Or on the other side, you have that person who needs to top up something else within the fumes within themselves. Now they need to re-intoxicate themselves, and they have no money at all. They go berserk suddenly. They can't make sense at all. Where can I get it from? Where can I get it from? Who can I steal from? Who can I loot? Who can I steal something, go sell it off? Something that is a nice full drill set or something worth over 100 pounds, go and sell it for 5 pounds even. So who can I rob? Where can I just get from? Loose change. They have some loose change. After non-Muslim, brother, brother, do you have any loose change? So there is a case of where can we scramble and where can we get this loose change from anywhere. And how desperate that person becomes at that time for that loose change, my dear friends. Ask that person. That is how we will be worse in the grave as well, my dear friends, that we will be, where can I just get that one subhanallah, that's that one alhamdulillah, one neki from somewhere or the other. And that's when, my dear friends, parents will be thinking that, where are my children? Where are my children? Why are they not sending anything for me at all? Not even one subhanallah for me, not even one salat, no naked, nothing whatsoever. Where are my children now? That is when they will regret that if only we had made our children deendar as well. If only we had given them deeni knowledge, deeni understanding, that now they would benefit us. Our amal has come to an end, we can't do anything at all. As Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions, from those things that a person leaves behind in amal and sadaqah jariyah is what? Waladun salih. Waladun salih, a righteous child. Meaning that whatever righteousness that child will do, automatically the parents will get the reward for it. That is, whatever they do. And then on top of that, the child is righteous, then he is going to do isal sawab, he is going to do sadaqah, he is going to do good deeds for the sake of his parents. So he will make dua maghfirah for his parents. He will think of his parents after their demise as well. They will continue to reap the benefits of that. They will get the reward of it. So for them it will be a case of the reward will still continue in the grave. And there will be those wherein they will be just asking by somebody or the other, somebody, if it's not my children, then some neighbor, some rishidar, some relative, somebody or the other, but just send one subhanallah for me. Just send one subhanallah for me. That is what the condition applied my defense in the grave. And we then, when we are in that position that we may be able to help the mayyit, by not carrying out these type of wasiyyahs of theirs, then we should do that, we should think about that, that look here, it's not a case when we feel, emotionally we feel, that look, we're letting them down. ये उनके आखिरी चाहत थी, उनके आखिरी वसीयत थी, उनकी आखिरी बात थी वगैरह. No, it doesn't matter, my dear friends. Now they're in the grave, that doesn't matter to them. In the grave now, they will all that they will want is that you do things according to the Sharia, because they're already in the Akhirat now. They want that, they're in that mode. They'll hope that only that you go against their wasiyyah. And we are in that position of doing that. So my dear friends, here that amount that we spend in sending the body over, if just that amount, or not even that amount, a fraction of that we gave that in sadaqah somewhere, just imagine how much they would benefit from that. This is foolishness on our behalf. We should not carry this out. And also I mentioned this many times, I'll continue to mention this as well. Because if you go to our qabristan, my dear friends, you'll be shocked. You can't distinguish between the Muslim graves and non-Muslim graves. You go to the mayyit, you go to the qabristan, and it seems like it's a botanical garden. That's how it's become. The amount of flowers, the amount of bouquets and decorations that we as Muslims are doing on our graves, my dear friends. And as I mentioned, this just shows that when we go against our deen and shariat, then we become mukmun, we become dumb and blind. Our senses are all over the place. Nothing makes sense to us at all. When we are told by do sadaqah, do khairat, give for the sake of the akhirat, that doesn't make sense to us. And instead, what do we want to do? But we've got no tawfiq to do any neki for our mom, for our dad, granddad, grandma. But we want to go and spend and buy the bouquet to put there, which after tahqiq was how much? 25, 30 pounds. 30, 40 pounds. I mentioned one of the bayans, and did a check on it as well. That one flower set, bouquet, which says mum on it, dad on it, son, or whatever it may be on it, 35 to 40 pounds, my friends. 35, 40 pounds, and we get that and we put that there, and we're showing everybody, look how much we love my mum. How much love we had for them that we went and put that mum there. And my dear friends, what benefit is that to the one who's in the grave? Who is going to benefit? He's going to benefit the one who's asking for loose change. He's going to benefit from it because he's going to take it and sell it off for the loose change. Who's going to benefit from it? Those walking around are going to have a look at, oh, nice flowers here, nice flowers here, nice flowers there. The one in the grave, are they going to benefit from those flowers? They're not going to benefit from it. What's not a single bit, my dear friends. And that same 40 pounds or plus, and then again we put solar lights all around it. Nabi says, as-salatu nurun, as-salatu nurun. You want nur in your grave, my dear friends, salat. Lead here, perform your salat here, automatically you'll have your lights there in the grave. You'll have nur. Salat is going to be nur for you. Your amal is going to be companionship for you in the grave. If your deeds are good, then a nice, beautiful individual will be there to give you company in the grave. And that will be what? That will be an indication of our good deeds. Otherwise it's going to be the opposite, where a person is going to be very frightful there, in a frightful place as it is. So it is a salat here that is going to bring nur for us in the grave. Those solar lights are not going to bring any light to anybody in the grave whatsoever. Again, wastage of money. Who does it benefit? Is this going to benefit those who are around there? Or those who drive past the Qabristan and can see there's so many lights here or so? All it is just decoration for those who are here standing on the earth. Those who are there in the grave, in the mayyit in the grave, they do not benefit from that at all. Let's say 40 pounds instead of you spent on that bouquet, on a flower that is there. Just put that 40 pounds for sadaqah somewhere. Put that in sadaqah somewhere, my dear friends. The mayyit will reap the reward for it. That flower that you go set, that you put there, they're not going to reap anything from it whatsoever. We go to the Qabristan, and again, this is what we do. Man tashabbaha biqawmin, we see others and we do the same. Then we go there, we'll get cards as well. And nowadays the Muslims are putting cards there as well. We miss you cards. And again, love cards and this card and that card. Again, the mayyit, do you really think the mayyit is going to come out from a grave to come at night or something to read the cards? By who's coming and put flowers here for me? Who's wrote what messages of condolences for me? No, they're not going to read that. And neither do they want those gifts, my dear friends. They are waiting, as the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, when the person does sawab for a mayyit, this is presented to them as a gift. That is a gift that they want. That is a hadiah that they want. That you send me these gifts that they want. They don't want the cards on top of the grave. They will actually turn in their grave saying, by no. That 1-2 pounds that you spend, by that 1-2 pounds, if you just gave that to feed one poor person somewhere in the month of Ramadan, that would have been something for me instead of that card. The 40 pounds, give that in a masjid. For one musalla or one brick of a masjid, as long as the masjid madrasa remains. One kitab that you donated towards. One Hafizahullah or student of deen or a muta'allim or muallim. Whatever now they're going to impart of deen, that reward we will continue to get in the grave. And more than sponsoring Hafizul Quran, sponsor an ustad. Because Hafizul Quran is just one Hafizul Quran who completes the hifz. After completing the hifz, do they even remember the Quran? Do they make amal upon the Quran? Will they even read the Salat Tarawih or not? That is not guaranteed. But the ustad's work is guaranteed. And the ustad does not produce one Hafizul Quran, he produces so many Hafizul Quran. So if you sponsor the ustad instead, you are going to get much more reward than sponsoring a Hafizul Quran. In the month of Ramadan, we do get a lot of madaris do have a scheme to make it easy as well by sponsor Hafizul Quran, which is good, you should do so, not that you shouldn't. But there what happens is you are sponsoring one individual alone. If he becomes the Hafizul Quran master, you're going to get the reward. And if that one individual does go on to do the khidmat of deen, you will continue to get the reward of it for sure. But instead, that same amount, if you give to that ustad who may have 10 students in front of him, you are getting the reward of educating 10 individuals. So if that ustad produces 10 Hufaz-e-Kiram, then from that 10, at least 2, 3, 4 will do something of deen. You get the reward of that. And then thereafter, here's another Jamaat, another class, he'll teach them another 10. After that, another 10 or so. The continuity and the amount of reward is much more there if you were to sponsor and give towards who? Towards a ustad. That's why Hazrat Hakim Umar says that there is more reward in donating towards a madrasa than there is towards a masjid. Towards giving kitabs for a student than donating towards the Quran. Why? Because masjid, everybody will give very easily towards the masjid. Masjid is used as well. But it is used for salat and other ibadat. And also the Quran, those who read, who will not read, and we have enough Quran. But here when you give towards a madrasa, you are producing those people who are going to frequent the masjid. You are going to produce those people who are going to read the Quran. And if from that kitab or that ilm that one individual had, and he becomes an alim from that, and then he speaks and he teaches so many other individuals, in his lifetime if he produces 100 students, the person who gave towards his books gets the reward of it as well. And whilst he was studying, you donated just a few books that he used whilst he became an alim, for instance, and after that he becomes an alim, and now whatever work of deen he does thereafter, you're going to be part of that reward as well. You get the reward for that. So when you come to the madrasa side, the reward of that is a lot more. and the reward of that is everlasting. Masjid wise as well, there is a lot of reward. Each person who comes will get the reward for it. But they're going to come for that time, read their salat and go. But this ilm, that seeking and teaching, imparting of knowledge is the reward that continues, because there is amal as well. Just the fact that you teach somebody something, you get the reward of it, irrelevant of whether they make amal upon it or not. And if they go on to make amal upon it, then they get the reward for it, and you also get the reward for it. They teach somebody else, that person learns, the reward goes to that person, comes back to you. They make amal upon it, it goes to that person, it comes back to you. And this chain, alhamdulillah, this chain continues and continues, my dear friends. It continues. That's why here as well I say to many of our Musallis, that you don't need to be an alim, you don't need to be Hafizul Quran. Just give towards a place, a madrasa, and whatever work goes on there, you're going to get the reward of it as well. So instead of spending that 40 pounds on that whatever ornamentation for the grave, that's that 40 pounds, give that towards a masjid, give that towards a madrasa. With the intention of it being reward for the marhumin, for your parents. And my dear friend, just imagine how pleased they will become there in their grave. These are the type of things that we're supposed to be doing, and not just what custom shows us, or what pressure may be upon us, or what other people are doing. No, we are not being made in the way that we just see others doing and we do the same. Allah has made us, Allah has given us aql salim. And aql salim is that we follow that which is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown us, what the deen has shown us. And when it comes to Isal Islam, my dear friends, so easy, so easy. In the month of Ramadan, how much Quran we read? We're reading so much Quran, alhamdulillah. But every time, any time we read the Quran, on our daily mamul, every day, whatever we read the Quran, on a daily basis after we recite the Quran, make intention, whatever recited, Isal Islam for all the marhumin. Isal Islam for all the marhumin. Daily they're going to get, all the marhumin are going to get. That is one. Or the other is make some time throughout the day wherein recite the Surah Ikhlas 3 times at least, minimum. Surah Ikhlas 3 times in the day. Fix one time during the day and make the intention, Allah, this is Isal Islam for my parents or for all the marhumin. Don't be stingy, marhumin. And the hadith says that whoever does Isal Islam without riwayat, he gets the full reward. Not that we're going to miss out upon it. We get the full reward and the mayyit gets the full reward as well. So we're not going to lose out, we're going to benefit, and the mayyit, the marhumin are going to benefit from us as well. And similarly as well, what we should do is something, bring this in as an end on this, a practice as well we should bring about, that whenever we remember any marhum, or sometimes what happens is somebody makes mention of a marhum, whether in conversation, or maybe we just remember to have fulan marhum, some tazkirah, something. Immediately, how long does it take to read three quls? It doesn't take long at all to recite. You can be in a conversation with people and they mention some marhum, but within their sense that just is Surah Ikhlas 3 times and send it off in Isal Islam. You will get the reward of the Quran as well, and they will benefit from it as well. Have this practice, my dear friend. Marhum, how many times we think of them? So many times, isn't it? Or that we talk about them, any marhum for that matter, any marhum, Muslim marhum, when their name takes place, just do the Isal Islam. If we have this habit, my dear friend, and we do that, and we're going to benefit them in this way, then for sure, when we go there, we'll have a wonderful istiqbal there as well. That then the marhumin will do in safarish for us as well. Allah, he helped us or she helped us so much. Allah, now you help him or her as well. Allah Ta'ala grant us all understanding. Whatever has been mentioned, Allah Ta'ala grant us all understanding of it and the ability to make amal upon it. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد